Welcome back to the What They Teach Us series, where we investigate people's, persons, and places. We investigate what they teach us, what sort of character they invoke, and how we can derive a relationship to real life. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe. I would appreciate that. And if you want to see a character you like, put them in the comments section. We might just do it. Alright, we might just do it. Without further ado, let's get into the video. What does Higuruma teach us about justice? Justice is one of those ideas that sounds simple on paper until you try and define it. Most people think justice just means fairness. Others think it means punishment. Some believe it's about balance, but the reality is far more complicated. Justice isn't just about a moral ideal. It's a system created and enforced by people. And because people are flawed, justice itself often becomes flawed. Two characters truly illustrate this conflict better than Higuruma from Jujutsu Kaisen. Higuruma isn't a traditional hero, nor is he a simple villain. Instead, he represents something far more interesting. The psychological collapse of someone who believed deeply in justice only to discover that the system meant to deliver it was broken. Analyzing his character really reveals a lesson about justice, one that applies not just about the world of anime, but to our own society. To truly understand what Higuruma teaches us, we must first separate the two ideas that people often treat as the same thing: justice as an ideal and justice as a system. Justice as an ideal is philosophical. It represents fairness, truth, and moral balance. Philosophers for thousands of years, from Plato to John Rawls, have debated what a truly just society should look like. Justice as a system, however, is something totally different. It's courts, it's rules, it's lawyers, it's evidence, procedures, burdens of proof. These systems aren't designed to be perfectly designed to capture the truth. They're designed to create order and resolve disputes. And this is exactly why the realization that begins to break Higuruma. As a defense attorney, he enters the legal system believing that truth will eventually win if he fights hard enough. But over time, he discovers something unsettling. The system isn't primarily concerned with the truth, it's concerned with the procedure. If the rules say the evidence is invalid, it doesn't matter if it proves guilt or not guilty. If a defendant cannot properly defend themselves, they may lose even if they are innocent. Justice becomes less more about morality, even more about a technical victory. Higuruma's story forces us to confront a harsh reality. Legal justice is not the same thing as moral justice. Another key lesson Higuruma reveals is that justice within a system isn't always caused by corruption, often is caused by the structure. In theory, courts are designed to be neutral, but neutrality can produce unfair outcomes when people enter the system with unequal resources. Some defendants have experienced lawyers, some others have overwhelmed public defenders. Some understand the system, others don't. The legal process may treat everyone equally on paper, but equality of rules doesn't always produce quality of outcomes. Higuruma repeatedly witnesses cases where people are crushed by the system they don't fully understand. He sees prosecutors chasing convictions instead of truth, judges prioritizing efficiency over fairness, and slowly he realizes that injustice isn't always about intentional. Sometimes it's systematic. This realization is devastating because systematic problems are far harder to fix than individual corruption. You can remove a corrupt person, but how do you remove a flawed structure? One of the most fascinating aspects about Higuruma's character is the psychological transformation he undergoes. Most people who enter flawed systems eventually become apathetic. They stop caring deeply because caring too much becomes exhausting. But Higuruma doesn't become apathetic at all. He becomes radicalized. He cannot accept the gap between what injustices are happening and what it should actually be happening. And this is something we see in real life as well. Many revolutions throughout history began with people who believed strongly in justice but eventually lost faith in institutions meant to uphold it. When people believe deeply in justice and repeatedly witnesses injustice, the psychological tension becomes unbearable. Eventually, one of two things happen. They give up on justice entirely, or they attempt to enforce it themselves. Higuruma chooses the second path. When Higuruma gains his curse technique in Jujutsu Kaisen, he essentially gains the power to create his own courtroom, one where judgment is swift and punishment is immediate. At first glance, this seems like a solution. If the real justice system is flawed, why not create a better one? But this was where the story becomes more philosophically brilliant, because Higuruma's system removes something essential from justice: uncertainty. Real justice systems include appeals, evidence rules, defense arguments, and procedural safeguards because humans are fallible. We make mistakes. Absolute justice systems where one authority determines guilt and punishment instantly eliminate the possibility for corruption. And historically, systems that claim to deliver perfect justice often become the most dangerous. Because once someone believes they are unquestionably right, there is nothing stopping them from becoming a tyrant. Hiruma's power demonstrates this paradox. The pursuit of perfect justice can lead to an authoritarian judgment.